Welcome inside Lone Peak Fieldhouse for Lone Peak Girls Basketball on the Rewind Sports Network, presented by HanuWear.com. 2 games remain in the regular season for the Lone Peak Girls Basketball team. Tonight against Lehi, and then on Friday will be senior night against Westlake, and then we go right into the state tournament where Lone Peak will have a bye in the first round, most likely. And then we'll get through in their chance to get a three-peat with Coach Nancy Warner, taking on tonight the Lehi Pioneers, who are coming off an impressive win against Sky Ridge on Friday night. The second matchup between these two was all Lone Peak at Lehi, which has kind of been the story in region play. It's Sarah Bartholomew, Katie Rich, Shawnee Nordstrom, Kennedy Wilson, and Naya Tanuvasa starting tonight for Coach Nancy Warner, as we will start with Lone Peak. As it's Scrivener, Hill, Warren, Havea, and it's Sarah Bartholomew with the first points, and Kaylee Freeman getting the start tonight for Coach Sean Seastrand. So down the floor, here's Hadley Warren, hands it back to Scrivener. Scrivener, the future USU Eastern Golden Eagle. There's that ball knocked out of bounds. Of those of us who know the area, we still call it CEU. I'll add in that school way up north's letters. An old Carbon County kid. And that Havea stepped out of bounds, and it is Lone Peak basketball. So back down the floor with Lone Peak. There's Rich to Wilson, now Bartholomew. Sarah hands back to Shawnee Nordstrom. Shawnee drop it inside to Bartholomew. Sarah off the window. Crawled out on the rebound to Havea. On the run with Scrivener. Ellie Hill up top to Hadley Warren. Sammy Love not starting tonight. Surprised by that. As Scrivener drives, terminates, and out to Warren. Hill, and then there you get Shawnee Nordstrom with the reach and the first foul of the evening. I mentioned Lone Peak took the first game. And region standings is important for bragging rights. At the moment, there's not a bump in the RPI. And as Havea goes down low to Freeman, no. Rebound to Tanuvasa, and Freeman picks up the loose ball foul. And it'll be a foul apiece here in the first 30 seconds.
Foul number 22, Kaylee Freeman, first personal, first team foul, 19 foul.
I'm joined tonight by Tino Psyche, why the colors look so good. And Kenzie running the system. We're here for the doubleheader tonight. There's the return of Quincy Lewis to Sarah Bartholomew. Opens it up with the first 4 points of the night, but Quincy Lewis returns to the school that made him a legend. His time here will be a lot of fun to see that in the boys' game coming up at 7:30. Scrivener goes back to Warren. Hadley back over to Addy. Pump the three, now pull from the corner, no. And we're going to have a loose ball foul on Havea, and that's 2 fouls. Or probably that's the first foul. Second team foul on Lehi, and the first on Malia Havea.
Second team foul, 19 foul.
Sarah sends that one back out. Shawnee Nordstrom back out Bartholomew. Rich cycled through to Tanuvasa. Naya out to Kennedy. Long on the triple. Rebound right in the hands of Kaylee Rich, who lays it up and in. Good to see Matt Brousseau with a new accessory in the side of his head. Looks sharp. Drop up ball on the baseline, and Freeman fouled by Bartholomew. That'll be the first personal foul on Sarah Bartholomew, second team foul on Lone Peak. And 2 free throws coming the way of Kaylee Freeman. I got to thank Coach Sean Seastrand, where he does list positions on his lineups. They are posts, guards, and then if they feels they're a center, like Maddie Andrews, she's a center. Freeman hit the first, the senior. Back rim the second, Bartholomew with the rebound. Sarah gonna pull on the three, no. Rebound to Tanuvasa, Naya back up and in. Naya has been so good this year, no longer surprised by it, just impressed by the development of her game from last year to this year. Has been very, very impressive. And she's already getting attention toward the end of the year. So lane violation, a free throw does not count. And our score 8-1. Hopefully you're all gotten over the, not so much in Utah, but the after effects of a terrific Super Bowl, and Tuesday feels a little better. As Bartholomew picked up the loose ball ahead to Tanuvasa, extra pass to Shawnee. Tanuvasa along the baseline, and the triple braided ponytail, wearing Daya Tanuvasa with her second bucket. Hadley, nice find inside to Havea, and Havea finishes. Good job by Sarah Bartholomew, not giving up the cheap foul. And the first field goal of the evening for Lehi. Kennedy, ball tipped away. Nice hands there by Fox. Sammy Love set to check in the next dead ball. Now Addie Scrivener. Good D by Wilson. Fox goes high-low into Havea. A little too high, going low.
0-0. Katie Lawrence replaces Bailey Rich. In for Lehi, number 24, Sammy Love for Melina Havea.
Shawnee on the drive and the finish. Nice take and finish by Shawnee Nordstrom. We've only got a couple of weeks left of watching Shawnee play. It's going to be a sad, sad day. The state tournament whenever Lone Peak plays their last game is Sammy Love. Doesn't get the start tonight, but gets a bucket right off the bench and a timeout to Nancy Warner. 3:24 left in the first quarter, and it's Lone Peak leading by 7. You're watching Lone Peak Girls Basketball, presented by HanuWear.com. And welcome back into Lone Peak High School again. Lone Peak Girls Basketball, presented by HanuWear.com. If you want to look good while getting better, go to HanuWear.com. I imagine they would love to get something worked out with the tribal chief. Especially WrestleMania coming up with he and The Rock, who's sitting at the head of the table. As there's a Naya Tanuvasa pull up and hit. Since now that the Super Bowl's over, we need to turn our attention toward WrestleMania in Philadelphia. Does Cody finish his story? Does The Rock disrupt things and become a fatal three-way? That's what I'm hoping for. Dropped that ball inside to Sammy Love, the ball out of bounds. In fact, I just saw this today. I got to figure this out, but we're going to be busy. The Rock will be in Salt Lake City on Friday. But we'll be here, Westlake at Lone Peak, to wrap up the regular season. Zaddy Scrivener hands back to Sammy Love. Sammy for three. Yes! How about that? Doesn't get the start. And Sammy Love now with 5 points. Got the layup and now the triple. And it's 14-8. Shawnee Nordstrom hits for three. Both Shawnee and Sammy Love won't be playing the next level. I heard Sammy's going to Western Montana, if I remember right. Dropped that ball inside to Scrivener. Addy forced it up. No call. Saves it back in, but right in the hands of Tanuvasa. Katie Lawrence checked in along with Zuri Nordstrom as Shawnee for 3. Back-to-back triples with Shawnee Nordstrom. And that's 8 points in the first quarter for the senior guard. And our reigning Impact Player of the Year. Addie Scrivener back rimmed, and it's Katie Lawrence pulling down the rebound on the run. Now Zuri. Zuri's got Shawnee. Shawnee back out to her younger sister. Zuri back for 3. No. Tanu Vasa kept that ball alive. Lawrence over to Shawnee Nordstrom, and she's fouled. Oh, we'll have a foul on the floor on Zuri Nordstrom on the rebound. So we talked about Shawnee being the reigning Impact Player of the Year. Of course, we'll have a new 6A Most Valuable Player, as Kaylee Woolston has been. Well, last year she was actually back-to-back years was our best player in the state, because Maggie Mendelson was the 6A Player of the Year. And last year we gave that award to Cambry over at Skyridge, but Katie Wilson back-to-back years was our Miss Rewind. Put that ball inside. Love couldn't handle it. Taken away by Kaylee Rich. Now on the run with the Knights. Cross court, Shawnee Nordstrom. Pull up. Get along on the rebound to Scrivener. And her and Zuri battle that out. Jump ball. Possession arrow belongs to Lehi. Full slate of games tonight. We've got 7 games on the Rewind Sports Network. Dane Stewart will be at an added game that we have. Dane is going to be at the Region Championship game with Orem and Timpview. Orem Golden Tigers. If there's someone that's going to make a run at Alta with a healthy ace riser, it is Orem. That team is young and they are well coached. Dane will be at that game tonight. Of course, we'll have Skyridge at Pleasant Grove. As Sammy Love back rims the triple. The rebound, Tanavasa. Plenty of time left in the quarter, 15 seconds. As Naya will hold things up and hand back to Kennedy Woolston. Three seconds. Kennedy on the drive. Kennedy with the floater and the finish. First bucket of the quarter for Kennedy Woolston. And at the end of one, it's the Lady Knights 22 and the Lehi Pioneers 8. You're watching Lone Peak Girls Basketball, presented by HonduWare.com and Heidemann and Associates on the Rewind Sports Network on KSLSports.com. Welcome back in. Dusty Litster with you, starting the second quarter. And it was all Lone Peak in the first quarter, 22-8. And Naya Tanuvasa. It's Tanuvasa now with 8 points. That ball gets away, goes out of bounds, and it is Lone Peak basketball. Oh no, he changed it. So we'll stay with the Lehi Pioneers. Of course, Lehi in recent years are so good with the Warren twins, and Jamison Heaton got to the state championship game in Sean Seastrand's first year. Of course, kept butting up against the Springville Red Devils year after year. As Havea kisses that off the window. Kaylin Poirier and Lauren Deedy just a little too much in those years for the Lehi Pioneers. Of course, Jamison Heaton is at College of Southern Idaho, teamed up with Malika Ika. And they're the 15th ranked basketball team in the junior college. As Naya Tanuvasa now has 11. The assist to Shawnee Nordstrom. It's not Jamison. She's received a Division I offer last week. And there was a Lone Peak foul. And I'm not seeing Papa Heaton hanging out here, so I imagine he's watching the stream, and I'm about to get a message on the app formerly known as Twitter. He'll send me some Zeet messages here and there. Always appreciate our loyal Lehi fans. Saw Kim Hawkins earlier. We talked about her with her family in the boys' game. As Love sends that one back out. Nobody home. Scrivener chases it down. There'll be a backcourt violation.
Checking in for the Pioneers.
Samuel come off the floor.
30, Ellie Hill. And number 3, Kathleen Warren. They replaced Kinsey Jepson and Sammy Love. Knights coming down.
As Kinsey Jepson and Love come off the floor. Donavasa hands back to Woolston. And the weave is going to be Shawnee short on the triple. The rebound to Hadley Warren. Scrivener sends that one out for 3. Brindley Cook knocks down the triple. Remember, that's point differential in the second quarter. I don't think we'll get to where it could get to. Sarah Bartholomew kissed that off the glass. And that 3 won't go. Rebound, Tanuvasa saves it back in off of Cook, and it will be Lone Peak ball.
For Lone Peak, number 13, Zuri Nordstrom. She replaces.
Zuri comes back on for Lone Peak, and Sammy Love comes back on for the Pioneers. Drop it in to Bartholomew. Sarah got loose and lays it in. Sarah now with 8 points. She and Tanavasa both having, and Shawnee, all 3 over 8 points. Or 8 points or more. And out of bounds, Kaylee Rich has a bucket. So did Candy Wilson, the only players all starting 5 to score. Rich inside to Bartholomew, back out to Zuri. Zuri drop it back in to Sarah. Sarah got loose, nice hands there by Hill to knock the ball out of bounds. The junior Ellie Hill, and it'll be Lone Peak ball along the baseline. Remind you that we will have a longer halftime, as senior night for the athletes will be on Friday, but tonight is cheerleader and drill team senior night. As always, we'll show that, but we won't have audio with music stuff. And Zuri Nordstrom lays that up and in. And with YouTube and music copyrights and stuff, that's why we always mute that halftime show. But you'll be able to see that stuff here on the stream. So Addie Scribner has that one poked away, loose. Bartholomew ahead to Shawnee. Nice pass from Sarah. And Shawnee Nordstrom now into double digits. And a timeout, Lehi. 4:28 left in the half, and it's the Knights 35 and the Pioneers 13. So 4:28 left in the half, and now I'll bring it up. You gotta be leery of that 35-point differential. I didn't know we'd get there, but Lehi does not find some offense here in the final 4 minutes and 25 seconds of the half. And they're threatening to dig themselves into a hole that would have a continuously running clock. Baseline jumper won't go. Freeman got the rebound after her miss. Inside to Hill, and that's off of Sarah Bartholomew, and it'll be Lehi ball with 31 seconds on the shot clock. It is Love, Jepson, Warren, Freeman, and Hill on the floor for Coach Sean Seastrand. Sammy Love goes into Freeman. Down the lane with Hadley Warren, and count the bucket. Nice take and make. The hoop and the harm to Hadley Warren, the senior. And Hadley will go to the line looking for the 3-point play.
It's her second personal, second team foul. Checking in for Lehi, number 23.
So Scribner comes back on, along with Kinley Fox. Katie Lawrence will come on for Zuri Nordstrom.
She replaces Zuri Nordstrom.
And Fox completes Warren completes the three-point play. And the score now 35-16. Quickly to the corner. Three on the way from Lawrence. No, rebound to Shawnee Nordstrom, which turns it over. Scrivener on the run. Good transition D by Lone Peak. Warren back out. Scrivener for three. And it'll be Lone Peak ball after the miss. High-low into Bartholomew. Let's say out of bounds off of Scrivener. And Lone Peak ball. Inside to Tanuvasa. Naya going to retreat. Up top, Sarah. Extra pass to Katie Lawrence. Kennedy Woolston straight away. Back rimmed. And the rebound to Sammy Love. Ball inside. And the finish to Freeman. And a little push here from the Pioneers, 35-18. Inside, Bartholomew, no, rebound to Freeman. Here comes Scrivener. Addie forced it up, she's fouled. Let's see if this goes on Shawnee Nordstrom, number 2 on Shawnee.
Personal 13 foul. Addie's at the line shooting 2.
First free throw good there to Scrivener. Mentioned she didn't go to Eastern Utah down in Price. I grew up in Carbon County in Wellington. Her coaches, Chelsea Warburton and Morgan Warburton. Of course, Chelsea and Morgan went to Carbon High School. Their sister Cassie was my age, and the older sister Mikkel was a couple years older than me. Also had brothers that went through Carbon High, all extremely good basketball players. Morgan, the most accomplished of all the Warburtons, is the drive and foul will put Kennedy at the line. Morgan, of course, was the 3A MVP, won a volleyball state championship and a basketball state championship in 2005, and then went on to the University of Utah, where she was outstanding and was drafted by the Sacramento Monarchs in the WNBA. Chelsea went to CEU and then transferred to Weber State, where she was an all-Big Sky player and was an assistant coach under Ron Parr, who was a longtime athletic director and women's basketball coach, and then she supplanted him for both positions. But they're running a great program in Price, and Addie Scrivener is a terrific addition down there. And she'll love playing for Chelsea and Morgan. They're just outstanding. Havea out to Love. Sammy now on the angle to Warren. Warren on the drive, too hard off the window. Havea blocked away by Tanuvasa. Loose ball. Havea gets after it. And a jump ball. No, traveling violation. Yeah, she can't leave. Once she was down on her elbow, she's down and she comes up to her hip. You can't do that. But good to see Havea way more aggressive going after that fumble than Cam Newton was in the Super Bowl 50. That video's gone viral of him and Warren Sapp having a discussion where Warren Sapp got after him for that. Tanuvasa, nobody home. Saved in by Woolston, and it gets taken away by Hadley Warren. Warren ahead to Scrivener. There's a good push here. A little 7-0 push by the Pioneers as Sammy Love working on Bartholomew, nowhere to go. Send it back out to Scribner. Addy inside. At Wilson, no. And then get the late whistle. As Kendi left her feet, was jumping toward the baseline, and was called for the foul. So Scribner back to the line. Got the first. Again, for some reason, if you're checking in early, you're about an hour early for the boys' game. It is slated for 7:30. The return of Quincy Lewis to Lone Peak. Of course, Quincy Lewis won state championships at Lone Peak in 05, 7, 8, 2011, 12, 13, and 14 before leaving Lone Peak to join Dave Rose at Brigham Young, and then won a state title his first year at Lehi, but this is his first game at Lone Peak since leaving after the 2014 season. Out of bounds, and the ball goes back to the Pioneers. And of course, those teams that he had, man, I just think back. I started broadcasting in the state of Utah in 2005, and it was right after Jackson Emery had won that state title before Lone Peak went from 4A to 5A. And you had Corey Chase and that team that didn't quite reach the heights they'd like to. And then there was Tyler Haas' era after that. It was unbelievable. That original team in 07 with Funk and Haas and Sharp and Hamilton. They put that ball inside, and Fox misses. Quickly down the floor, here comes Shawnee. Shot clock and game clock, about 2-second difference. On the drive, Wilson out to Tanuvasa. Tanuvasa with an angled three, no. And Zuri Nordstrom with the board. And Lone Peak can hold for the final shot as Wilson gets that back over to Shawnee Nordstrom. Shot clock turned off, 15 seconds on the game clock. Shawnee with 9, with 8. Out to Woolston. Kennedy, back rim. Zuri gets the board, sends it back out. Shawnee at the horn. And that'll do it for the first half. A 9-0 or 9-1 run for the Pioneers to close out the half. But it's Lone Peak leading 36-23. You're watching Lone Peak Girls Basketball on the Rewind Sports Network, presented by HanuWare.com. And welcome back into Lone Peak Fieldhouse. Dusty Litster with you. Lone Peak Girls Basketball, presented by HanuWare.com and Heidemann and Associates. Go to HanuWare.com, find the activewear that fits you. HanuWare.com. And of course, every time I bring up HanuWare.com, I mean, I think of the tribal chief. Who's me one of the ones? Straight up with Hadley Warren. It was a 9-0 run to close out the half for Lehi as Warren goes inside out to Addie Scribner. Make it a 12-0 run. It was 36-13, and that was when I mentioned something I shouldn't have mentioned. And maybe just a little broadcaster's jinx here. Kendi over to Tanuvasa. Shawnee inside out to Rich. Kaylee Rich terminates. Back out to Shawnee Nordstrom. 15 on the shot clock. Drop it in to Sarah Bartholomew. And Sarah now into double figures. 10 points on the night for Sarah Bartholomew. And the first field goal in quite a while. It was about 4 minutes and 32 seconds in the half when Lone Peak was going on a run as Kennedy Wilson is going to pick up the loose ball foul. It'll be number 2 on Kennedy. First team foul of the quarter.
Fouls on Lone Peak, number 34, Kennedy Wilson. It's her second personal, first team foul of the quarter. Lehi will inbound.
The state tournament will start next week. Of course, we have a little skewampus schedule for the state tournament. 6A, however, will be somewhat normal. It will be Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at the Huntsman Center. Onside, a foul will go to Bartholomew. She did foul her, and they'll put Ellie Hill at the line to shoot 2. But because the Huntsman Center, the Marriott Center, the D-Event Center, and I'll even go a little bit further, the Delta Center, none of those venues had 5 straight days of which you could run the 6A and 5A boys and girls state tournaments. The 4A boys and girls state tournament running concurrently that week is held at UVU, so it wasn't even a chance to go to the McCade Event Center. So or I guess now it's the UCCU Center. So anyway, we'll have 5A basketball on the 25th as Shawnee Nordstrom can't finish. Get your own rebound. Reverses short. Board and put back no to Sarah Bartholomew. As Ellie Hill can't control that one out of bounds. 5A boys and girls will start on Saturday the 25th. Then 6A will go Monday. Then the 5A Tuesday. Both play Wednesday. And then because the University of Utah's home, Thursday is a bye, and we'll have Championship Friday with the 4 games at the Huntsman Center. As Kennedy Wilson tries to fit that one inside. And if you're a Lone Peak fan, you'll know that, or maybe you don't know, but I should let you know that the swimming state championship meet is on Saturday the 25th. One of my favorite things I do every year, and I've done now for the last, I think it's been 6 years. Lone Peak girls are going to have a great day in the pool as Kennedy Wilson's long on the 3. I won't be able to do them because we'll have the state tournaments going for basketball. McKay Larson will have you taken care of there. Oh, there's a foul inside. It'll be a foul on the rebound to Hadley Warren. Be her first personal foul. But McKay Larson will have it. I'm hoping, beyond hope, that he's got a Lone Peak swimming legend that'll be joining him on the broadcast, and a current BYU swimming legend who holds, he's the Michael Phelps of Utah swimming. Let's see if he's there and going to be able to make it or not. But we're hoping to pull it off. Loose ball taken away by Lehi. Sammy Love going to drive the base. Nowhere to go, but did get that into Scribner. And somehow Addie Scribner gets that one to go in the lead to 11. Kennedy back in the corner to Kaylee Rich. Tanuvasa over to Nordstrom into the corner to Woolston. Kennedy on the drive. Thought she'd get fouled. Did not. Nearly got that shot to fall. And the rebound goes to Freeman. Now on the run with the Pioneers. Hadley into Freeman and finishes. Everything going the way of Lehi. It's a single-digit game, a 26-3 run for Lehi. 5 minutes left in the third quarter. We'll be right back. So out of the timeout from Nancy Warner. Lone Peak finally bounced back. They came out of the locker room the way they'd want to go. Lehi has. As Kennedy outside to Tanuvasa. Skip to Zuri Nordstrom. Zuri on the drive. Leaves it for Sarah. And Bartholomew with her 12th point of the night. The future BYU Cougar puts the lead back to double digits. Of course, Sarah and Kennedy will be joining Kaylee. Now, Kennedy's got 2 more years to play here at Lone Peak. I do not believe she'll reclassify like Maggie Mendelson did a couple years back. Fox saves that ball back in to Hadley Warren. Warren hits the deck, got it into Fox, and a good defense by Woolston as Tanuvasa leaves it to the cutting Bartholomew. Sarah back out. Naya for 3. And back to a little bit of the Lone Peak girls basketball. Good ball movement, nice defense. Leads to the corner tray for Naya Tanuvasa. Hadley sends it out. Addie sends out up to Sammy Love and cycle through. Freeman to the corner. Scribner no, and the rebound tracked down by Zuri. Sarah deep in the post. She just finished that one on the drive. Tanuvasa can't get it, and the rebound to Freeman. Scribner tried to wrap that one around. That ball's going to go out of bounds. It'll be Lone Peak ball. Of course, Lehi played a tough preseason schedule. We had them at the Holiday Hoop Fest. Played the 2 out-of-state games, and as you expect, you play those out-of-state teams that come in. I mean, they're outstanding. So they'll be well versed in playing against difficult teams going to the state tournament. Sean Seastrand takes a timeout with 3:12 left in the third. You're watching Lone Peak Girls Basketball on the Rewind Sports Network. And welcome back in. I want to thank Igloo Outfitters for being a supporter of the Rewind Sports Network. Go to igloooutfitters.com, IGLU Outfitters.com. We're almost into spring sports. We're going to be getting into soccer and baseball games. It's going to be cold. We all know the springs in Utah is Shawnee Nordstrom crawls that one up and in, but we know the springs in Utah are unpredictable. These are all igloos are also waterproof, folks. You can need them for baseball and soccer season. We even had the state tournament games last year where people were all bundled up in blankets and stuff. igloooutfitters.com, IGLUoutfitters.com. As Phoenix Sweat. Phoenix comes off the bench and knocks down a three. Of course, the younger sister, Acadian Sweat, was our 5A Defensive Player of the Year. Is Shawnee Nordstrom with a dribbling violation. The ball will go back to Lehi, but we mentioned Acadian at Utah State. Red-shirted last year, was our 5A Defensive Player of the Year. His dad, Dane Sweat, and I are the same age. He was a star in the 1A baseball ranks in 2002. Was a Mr. Baseball. As Phoenix pulls, back rimmed, and the rebound. Taken on the run with Naya Tanavasa. Tanavasa stepped through, floated up. Shine violation first. Lone Peak continues to sputter. Jepson over to Hill on the baseline. Hill cut off to the back out, and Jepson can't corral the pass. Sarah Bartholomew will come back off the bench for Lone Peak inside of 2 minutes remaining in the third. Just impressive to see what the Pioneers have done. I mean, 19-10 run. Shawnee Nordstrom with Phoenix right there with her. Inside to Sarah. Nice extra pass. And Kaylee Rich lays that one in. Lead to 15. Sweat up top to Scrivener. Jepson extra pass. Phoenix Sweat off on the three, and the rebound. Fought over. Jump ball belongs to Lone Peak. So 1:22 left in the quarter. It'll be Lone Peak basketball. As Lehi going to try to pick up full court. Shawnee on the drive, forced it up. No. Rebound to Rich. Sends it back out, Tanuvasa. Naya, nowhere to go, slapped away. Saved off of Zuri, got it back out. Shot clock still running at 10 seconds. Ball has not hit the rim. Shawnee on the drive right to the rim, can't finish. Rebound and foul. Going to put Kaylee Rich at the line. So Kaylee at the line for the first time tonight. And this is the first free throw. We'll have another. Kaylee Rich, a 3-year contributor for Coach Warner. Always fun when it was the young Kaylee Rich. Still young, just now a senior in high school. .40 seconds left in the third. Phoenix Sweat cut off there by Zuri Nordstrom. And now Addie Scrivener has some space from Rich, fits that into Sweat. Phoenix with the left hand, and that's 5 points in the quarter for Phoenix Sweat. 20 seconds left in the quarter, shot clock turned off. Shawnee. Pull up long. Rebound in the hands of Scribner. Sweat just gave that one up. 5 seconds. Jepson with 3, 2, 1. Not going to get the shot off. Nice defense by Tanuvasa. And that will do it for the third quarter. We go to the fourth. And a big push by Lehi, but it is Lone Peak with a 14-point advantage. You're watching Lone Peak Girls Basketball on the Rewind Sports Network. Start of the fourth quarter, Lone Peak Girls Basketball on the Rewind Sports Network, presented by HanuWear.com and Heidemann and Associates. Dusty Litster, along with Tino Psyche running the camera and Kenzie Valentine handling the system and commercials. A strong third quarter and actually a strong second half from Lehi. Here's Sweat, who had 5 points in the third. Send it back out to Jepson. Again, the first of our doubleheader tonight here at Lone Peak is Havea. Foul by Bartholomew. That'll be number 3 on Sarah. Of course, the boys-girls doubleheader in region play. It's the return of Quincy Lewis to Lone Peak. Havea. Missed the first. Of course, Quincy, a Utah native, was a star at Timpview High School and then UVSC, and then went to Wagner, where he's part of the Wagner Sports Hall of Fame. He was an assistant coach. Oh, Zavea banks in the free throw. Was an assistant coach at BYU Hawaii, and then joined the UVSC staff, and then took the job here at Lone Peak. After Ryan Cuff left. Ryan Cuff won a state championship, and Cuff left, and Quincy Lewis came in and built an absolute machine of basketball. Time was, when I started broadcasting here, that you couldn't get into Lone Peak games. The JV game wasn't early enough to get here to get a seat inside the field house. When I would come and do games back then on a different network, we'd have to make sure with the athletic director they'd open the doors for us so we could get into the gym, because the line would be outside the building to get in here in the JV game, and we needed to get in and get set up. And those teams from Quincy Lewis were just unreal. So crazy time to think that Quincy Lewis is the visiting coach tonight in Lone Peak. Shawnee on the drive. Finds opposite to Rich, a little sharp off the window. Shawnee gets it back and gets the bucket. Shawnee now with 14. She and Tanuvasa both tied for the game high. Goes for the steal, knocked it loose. Kennedy sends it ahead. Shawnee Nordstrom, ball fake at Jepson. No, Tanuvasa with the rebound. Oh, no look into Kennedy. Back out to Tanuvasa, 28 on the shot clock, and reset the offense. And the foul to Addie Scribner. Oh, the foul goes to Jepson, not to Scribner. Missouri Nordstrom comes on for Sarah Bartholomew. As Phoenix Sweat will come off after good minutes. And now Nancy Warner is building the Quincy Lewis-esque program with the girls' program as they go inside to Tanuvasa. A little too strong, gets her own rebound. And it's the second time Nancy did it. Remember, she had the amazing program at Springville before coming to Lone Peak. And now winning 2 state titles is a foul. Let's see what goes on. That one is on Addie Scribner. Yeah. Nancy had won a bunch of titles at Springville or Eaton's, and comes to Lone Peak. The program was down, and she just built an absolute juggernaut. Won back-to-back state titles, looking to get their third in a couple of weeks. And we're going to have a offensive foul on Lone Peak. Well, wrong offensive foul, just stepped out of bounds. Or was it a carry? Well, he did. I don't know the official said it. Yeah. It wasn't a foul. Yeah.
Correction.
Yeah, she said stepped out of bounds.
Not a foul.
So the official, she pointed like this.
Pioneers inbound.
I have seen so many confusing videos online showing Super Bowl stuff with graphics on TV. Remember, they're all unofficial, and the officials run everything, and this gets confusing at times. Hadley Warren sends it over to Jepson. Jepson pulls on the long three. In and out, rebound, tipped around, and taken by Tanuvasa. And Naya, they wanted an out-of-bounds call there. Chishan Elliott, it now a traveling violation on Kennedy Wilson. As Lehi fans saying ball don't lie. But a 15-point advantage for Lone Peak. Feels closer than the 15 points with the way that the Pioneers have responded after that big deficit. Had it down to 9 at one point. If this was the BYU that men's basketball team, that 15-point lead's not safe with 5 minutes left. Down the lane, Jepson left hand, no. Gets it back off the window, yes. And the lead to 13. Again, got to thank Tino Psyche, how clean the screen looks as Shawnee Nordstrom off the bunt gets the bucket. And Shawnee now game high 16. Addy down the baseline, left hand, and it crawls in. Nice take and make by Addy Scribner. And back to 13-point game as Nancy Warner takes a timeout, full timeout, 4:42 left. We'll be back. You're watching Lone Peak Girls Basketball. Out of the timeout. Lone Peak looking to close this game out, a 13-point game, and now another offensive foul. The foul goes on to Zuri Nordstrom. Number 3 on Zuri. And the third team foul, or second team foul. They got that up quick. Second team foul on the Knights in the quarter. Remember, they're quarter fouls, not half fouls anymore, and they're immediately double bonus. 3 from Warren, no, and the rebound to Lawrence. Ahead to Tanuvasa. Naya drop it inside to Zuri. Baseline with Nordstrom out to Lawrence. Tanuvasa, nice extra pass, and the freshman Zuri Nordstrom couldn't corral it. And it's a turnover, and the ball will go to Lehi. So Jepson, good hands by Lawrence. Jump ball, possession. Oh, mercy. I don't know how you call a timeout on a dual possession. There it is. 3:59 left, 30-second timeout. We'll stay here. We'll go through our schedule for the next couple of days. Our game nights here this week, Tuesday and Friday. Obviously, we have the boys game coming up. So if you're coming in to the stream looking for the boys stream, the boys game does not start until this one concludes. So out tonight, the Quincy Lewis return to Lone Peak. Skyridge at Pleasant Grove. Interesting game there with Coach Gardner, Coach McAllister, Coach Mack. I can't believe it's his last season. Farmington at Davis, a new rivalry, but a big rivalry. Alta at Brighton, Tipview at Orem, and Riverton at Copper Hills. And then Friday, we'll have another full slate for you. Westlake at Lone Peak. I'll be here on senior night here at Lone Peak. American Fork at Skyridge, Weber at Davis, and Harriman at Copper Hills. Then we go into the state tournament. Dane Stewart and I will have a bracket reveal and reaction on Saturday. Fox goes inside to Sammy Love. Now to Jepson. Hadley back to Scribner. Good job of closing out there by Lawrence. 4 seconds on the shot clock. Sammy Love can't get that one. And the rebound to Nordstrom on the run with Tanuvasa. Naya right down the floor. Can't finish. Rebound to Katie Lawrence. And Katie fouled by Sammy Love. She still wanted the call down here. And that is the 15th foul on Lehi. So it'll be free throws for the final 3:25 for Lone Peak. Katie Lawrence hits the first. Katie, a junior. 4 seniors on this team is Shawnee Nordstrom, Tanu Vaso, Katie Rich, Sarah Bartholomew. As Katie knocks them both down. And a lead to 16. And it's Lawrence picking up, Woolston picking up the loose ball on the run with Kennedy over to Shawnee. Lawrence back to Kennedy. Not going to force it with Fox right there with her. Shawnee will pull for 3. Short, has not hit a 3 since the first quarter. And that one too strong ahead of Addie Scribner. .250 left in the fourth. Woolston step through, can't get it. And Katie comes away with it, back up and in. Katie Lawrence with a steal and layup. You gotta be strong, you secure that board. Jepson to the corner. Love back out to Scrivener. Addie on the drive. Addie into Zuri Nordstrom. The foul to Zuri, and it's the 4th personal foul on Zuri Nordstrom. 3rd team foul. Going to be 2 free throws for Addie Scrivener. Remember, you can come up with your hands up, but to Zuri, she was stepping toward her, which takes away that space. That is the foul, even if your hands are straight up. Verticality doesn't state that you're vertical like a king or a queen in the chessboard. As long as your hands are up, you can walk any direction you want. Once your hands are up and you want to say, I'm defending this spot, you got to hold that spot. You can leave your feet as long as it's straight up. And Scrivener misses the free throw. 1 of 2, 56 of 40. The lead for the Knights. Katie sends out Zuri for 3. The young freshman knocks down the triple, her first 3 of the night. 5 points for Zuri Nordstrom. And a lead to 19. Had it down to 9 at one point, 58-49. Lone Peak has closed it out as Addie Scrivener from way outside. Katie sends it back out. Zuri Nordstrom again. No, rebound to Havea. Nice hands there by Tanu Vasa, and a steal to the right of hands of Sammy Love, right to the rim. And now she's fouled to Sweat. And that'll be 2 free throws here to Naya Tanu Vasa. Number 2 on Phoenix with 1 minute and 5 seconds left in this one. A little update from the Marriott Center. Cougars starting out strong against UCF. You're more afraid of UCF in Orlando than UCF in your building. Cougars looking to get about 500 in Big 12 play. As the free throw's good, and the lead now 18. Scrivener again for 3, no. And the rebound to Tanuvasa. Naya quickly ahead to Shawnee. Shawnee now to Zuri. Zuri no on the layup. Got her own board and the stick. Missouri now with 7 points. 40 seconds left in this one. Remember, the boys' game will be coming up next. It's slated for 7:30. We might start close to on time. 3 from Phoenix Sweat is no good, and the rebound and no shot clock to Naya Tanuvasa as Naya will walk it into the front court. And Lone Peak will dribble out this game. And Phoenix doesn't have any quit in her. 15 seconds as Kennedy Wilson will hold it out. And that is going to do it as Lone Peak got a test from Lehi. They took a lead. It was a deficit of 22, got it down to 9, but Lone Peak showing their championship pedigree. Stayed calm, played their game, took care of business, and take this one by 20. Final score, Lone Peak 63, Lehi 43. Your players of the game, we're going to go three-headed monster. Naya Tanuvasa, Shawnee Nordstrom, and Zuri. I thought Zuri was huge in the fourth quarter, up getting some ceiling plays down the stretch. Again, your final score, Lone Peak 63, Lehi 43. For Tino Psyche, Kenzie Valentine, I'm Dusty Lister. Thanks for joining us and for watching Lone Peak Girls Basketball on the Rewind Sports Network, presented by HanuWear.com, brought to you by Heidemann and Associates. The boys game coming up next, right here on the Rewind Sports Network.